Welcome to the November 13, 2025 board meeting. I will be chairing the meeting, Richard Davis, board member, because Chair Schaefer is participating virtually. So the first order of business is approval of the minutes from the October 30 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Welcome. As I said, this is our board meeting. In today's meeting, we'll be voting on enforcement matters relating to two candidates, a Rule 7-09 petition, and we'll be asking whether the board will ratify two public funds payment corrections made by the chair. Before we get started, I did want to mention that after 10 years at the Campaign Finance Board, our general counsel, Joseph Gallagher, is moving on to a new professional opportunity. On behalf of the board and staff and the people of New York City, thank you, Joe, for your years of public service. Now I'll hand it off to the executive director for his remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Good morning, everyone. When the board met 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, we were eagerly anticipating the general election, which was days away. We got to it and we got through it. And over the past week, Campaign Finance Board staff have been shifting focus to post-election work. Our first order of business was supporting the creation of transition and inauguration entities by candidates who won last Tuesday. We call these committee-like entities ties for short. Ties are subject to contribution limits ranging from $1,600 for city council to $3,700 for citywide offices, and disclosure requirements with 6 disclosure deadlines beginning December 5th. Incumbents re-elected to the same office can use a tie to pay for a single inauguration event with catering, entertainment, venue rental, decorations, etc. However, re-elected incumbents are not permitted to incur transition expenses. By contrast, candidates elected to a new city office can use their tie to raise and spend money on both inaugural and transition activities, expenses related to selecting their new city office staff, renting temporary offices until they move into their official city digs, paying transition staff to support this work, and those types of transition expenditures. So far, 5 candidates have registered transition and inauguration entities with our agency. We expect more to register between now and the December 5th registration deadline. And with our public funds payment work behind us, our auditors are shifting fully to post-election audit mode with the plan to complete audits of 2025 candidates faster than ever without compromising the integrity of our audits. In the coming weeks and months, candidates, treasurers, and the public will be hearing from CFB with opportunities to give us feedback on how we did administering our programs in this year's elections. We're in an important learning window right now, reflecting on the 2025 elections to improve our systems, processes, and policies for the 2029 elections. Within the coming year, we'll publish a voter analysis report and a post-election report summarizing what we've learned. And in the season of giving thanks, I want to thank the board for its leadership through this exciting and very challenging election cycle. I want to thank all CFB staff for your hard work. You can eat some turkey if that's your thing. You can catch up on your sleep now. I want to thank the hundreds of candidates and treasurers who were brave enough to run for office and who did their best to comply with the CFB's many rules and requirements. And I want to thank journalists who educated voters through their election coverage and through partnering with the Campaign Finance Board to co-host debates with us. Most importantly, I want to thank the people of New York City who turned out to vote in numbers not seen in more than a half century and who have supported this agency and our mission for nearly 40 years. Democracy may be under threat in some places, but thanks to all of you, democracy is alive and well in New York City. That's all I've got this morning, Mr. Davis. Back to you.
Okay, I think we do have one appearance today. The candidate, Chanel Thomas Henry, in connection with the Rule 709. Why don't you come up and take a seat?
Morning.
Morning, welcome. So as a matter of process, the CFB staff will at least set up the issue, not necessarily engage at this point in any argument, and then we'll hear what you have to say, and there may be questions or not from the board.
Okay.
Why don't you just tell us why we're here?
Good morning, Chair Schaefer, members of the board, Executive Director Ryan. My name is Shayna Iden, Associate Counsel for the CFB.
You speak up just.
Yes, sorry, getting over a cold. I'm joined by Garrett Lavertu, one of our auditors. And before the board today is a matter of the October 30th public funds non-payment determination for Chanel Thomas Henry, campaign for City Council District 21. The campaign has submitted a petition pursuant to Board Rule 709 challenging the determination. Board staff recommends the board deny the campaign's petition and instead review the campaign's eligibility in the normal course of the post-election audit.
Okay, now platform is for you now.
Okay. Thank you again. My name is Chanel Thomas Henry, and now council member elect. Thanks to this process and the opportunity to run, and with your help through the matching funds program, have a successful campaign. I would like for the board to reconsider the denial of matching funds. The determination was based on a couple of factors that I would like to reiterate and argue why they should not, why they do not exceed the cap for the primary funding, one of which was the deposit made on my office for the primary, which after winning the primary, we still occupy that space as of today through the general election. The formula used to determine what was to be attributed to the primary versus the general put it at $1,300, which was the deposit amount divided by 121 days, $10.56, which they attributed part to the primary and only 17 days for the general election. As of today, we have been in that space for an additional 124 days. And by using that same formula, we would actually, instead of attributing only $179 to the general, $1,310.57 should be deducted from that overall deposit for an amount of $1,289.43 of the deposit, which should be attributed to the general election. Which would,
Let me just make sure I have the
math right.
So how many days since the primary, you're saying through today?
124.
And before the primary?
It was 123. And that's 124. The auditors did attribute 17 days. I did not include that in the 124. So when they did the formula, they attributed 23 days to the primary and 17 days to the general. The 124 is additional to that 17 days to be attributed to the general. Proceed. So if that is taken into reconsideration, we would actually be $426 below the spending cap. And I also have a letter from the landlord stating that as of yesterday, after examining the property, they do fully intend to return the entire deposit amount because there has not been any damage or anything to the property. In addition to that, there was a determination that the event held on the evening of the election, post the closing of the polls, should be attributed to the primary. As stated in the CFB guidelines, the candidates are allowed to do one thank you event following the primary, but that must be done in a limited time period. That event was for my volunteers and who helped work throughout the campaign. And as you will see in subsequent filings, there was no other event held. And we held that event because I had predetermined travel arrangements immediately following the election through mid-August. So there was no time frame in between when we had to hold the event other than that evening.
One question, but don't every campaign have an event the night of the election? And which does count towards so we're a little confused because I've never seen a campaign that didn't hold an event the night of the election, and that would count.
So what is unique about our city elections, as you know, we have ranked choice voting. So typically in an election, a candidate will hold a campaign, a celebration, which I did do on election night to celebrate my victory or anticipated victory. That is very hard to do during ranked choice votings. We did go into 4 rounds of my election. So the anticipation, again, was to hold an event that I can thank my volunteers before going. Literally, you give only a certain period of time to hold said event. And I was not going to be in town the majority of that time to host that event. And that total is an additional $1,519.05. And last but not least, upon further reviewing the books, my treasurer and I did find that there was a ACH payment returned that had not been attributed to and was still listed as an expenditure during the primary. And I do have bank statements showing that was returned.
What was returned?
There was an ACH payment that did not go through one of my consultants. So it had been returned, but it was still showing up on my expenditures for the primary.
Am I correct, from what I understand, that we have only counted the one 2,000, we have not counted the second 2,000?
They reported the refund, so the additional $2,000 has been subtracted from the amount already.
Okay.
So I have a question for CFB staff, and you may need, perhaps you're not prepared to answer this, but in case you are, do you have any comments just on the security deposit issue? I mean, so you're basically proposing a change in numerators and denominators. Any thought on this, that the denominator should actually be 124 additional days? Is that what you're saying?
So correct. I mean, my initial argument was that a deposit should not be held against a candidate towards the spending cap. But in the review that CFB came back with the formula that was used, using that formula, it does show that we actually fall under the cap.
So CFB does prorate the amount of the security deposit, but my understanding, and Garrett can confirm, is that we prorated it based on the lease that we received from the campaign.
Not sure I understand. Based on the lease.
Term of the lease.
The term of the lease.
Yeah.
It had a defined end date, and we used that to determine the number of days to prorate the security deposit, because we didn't know at the time whether they would renew the lease for the general.
You renew the lease.
Yeah, we went on into month to month for the general. Yes.
And we didn't have that information at the time that the analysis was performed.
Are there any other questions?
I just have one question. Did you provide that information to the CFB before today?
I can look in my statement saying that we were still occupying the space through the general. Yes.
Okay, so the information, you said that you based the analysis on the lease, which showed ending at the primary.
A little shortly after the primary. But
Shortly after the primary, she won the primary, she stayed in the space through the general, and she communicated to you that she was still in the space?
not to my knowledge. Not at the time that we sent the do not pay notice or received a response to the statement 14 mailing.
Would the disclosure statements that have been filed between the primary and the general have disclosed a rental payment?
That I cannot tell you off the top of my head.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I assume they would.
Possibly.
And you're saying they would.
Yes.
Are there any other questions? Okay, so what will the board have a motion for us to go into deliberations?
So moved.
What?
To go into deliberations?
There were deliberations and come back and you can wait, or somebody will notify you of what the decision is.
Okay. Is there deliberations within the next hour or so?
It won't,
Okay.
won't take too long.
Oh.
So we have a second, all in favor of going into deliberations?
I
We go into deliberations and we go. We will be back in session as soon as we get hooked up with the chair who's remote.
He's on it right now, but his camera's.
Okay. So the board is back in session. First, I will make a motion to grant the petition of Chanel Thomas Henry. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passed. Motion passes and the petition is granted. Second, I have been make a motion to approve the following penalties in the following amounts. As to candidate N Wang from the 2021 City Council election, a violation of accepting contributions from corporations, limited liability companies, or partnerships, 2,690. Diverting campaign funds to a personal use, 3,010. Making impermissible post-election expenditures, $10,000. Exceeding the expenditure limit, 3,610 for a total of 19,310. And as to the candidate Juan Ardila, City Council 2021, failure to respond to the IDR and the DAR, meaning the audit report, $10,000. I make a motion to approve those penalties.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I should say in terms of just remind everybody in terms of how the process works, in terms of we granted the petition, the 709 petition, it's obviously without prejudice to the audit. Whatever the audit ultimately shows, it will show, but the money can be dispersed now. The last item is to approve two corrections of payments that were made in the last public payments, made matching payments to Jamami Williams and to Elijah Diaz. The chair approved those modifications. I have a motion to ratify the chair's decisions.
Second.
A second?
Do we need to lift them? Do we need to describe them?
I don't have. Do I have it? Do I have it?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that concludes the public session for today. Do I have a motion to go into executive session where we will discuss pending litigation, other matters, but not taking action which would require a public session?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is closed for the day, and thank you, everybody.